Alright guys, it is time for my annual settings video where I'm going to be going over all of my game settings, whether that be the controls, the camera settings, and also my controller setup, because I use an Xbox Elite controller where I have two paddles on the back while I'm playing FIFA, and they're mapped to the bumpers. So I'm going to be going over that at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that if you're interested in that and you have like a controller with paddles. It's actually extremely helpful. So first of all, I'm at the main menu, and in order to get to the settings, you're going to go to that gear icon at the top left, click on that, and then it's going to take us to this screen where you're going to click settings, and then we're going to go over to game settings. And this is where most of the main settings are that are going to be important for gameplay. So let's dive straight into it. And this first tab is called gameplay. And the first setting is preset. So you're going to have it on the competitive preset if you play online games. And even if you don't have it on the competitive preset, once you get into an online game, it's automatically going to switch some settings off. So right here it says the competitive preset is always enabled in online competitive matches. The following settings are affected by the competitive preset. So when you play in online games, these settings right here are all going to be set to what they have for this competitive preset. So you don't need to worry about changing the settings yourself. Just put the competitive preset on and you'll be good to go. So auto shots are off, assisted headers are off. And then the next setting is shot assistance, and this can be preference, but they added precision shooting, I believe, like 2 years ago in FC24, and I think it's one of the best things they ever introduced, as well as precision passes. It feels a lot more realistic when it comes to aiming. You're not like aiming towards the corner flag compared to when you're using assisted. Say you're trying to hit like a finesse shot from an angle on assisted, usually you're almost aiming towards the corner flag to try and hit that like far post finesse shot. With precision, you actually have to be more precise with your aim and aim more towards like the side netting or the post for the shots to go in. And it just feels more realistic and more satisfying. And honestly, once you get the hang of it, I think it's even better. So it says shot direction will be partially assisted. Aiming at the goal results in more accurate shots and faster ball speeds. So it even says like there's a little bit of an advantage to it because there's more of like a skill gap with precision than compared to assisted. So it actually makes your shots faster and more accurate, which is actually really nice, and I would highly suggest trying precision and getting the hang of it. And I apologize if I sound a little sick. I've been sick the past few days, but I feel way better than I did a couple days ago. So the next settings we have are passing settings, and my setup might be a little bit different than what you've seen other people use or what you're used to, but I use all the passing settings on semi. I think on default through pass assistance is on semi. I'm not too sure about lob through pass. That might be defaulted to semi. But I know ground pass, cross, and lob pass are defaulted to assisted. So you could do that, but I feel like just having them all on semi just gives me more control, and I avoid more of those situations where I'm trying to pass it to somebody, but it ends up going to another player. I feel like that doesn't happen as much on semi. It still happens, but I feel like it doesn't happen as much compared to assisted. So you could try semi like I do. Pass receiver lock is late. So what it says, a pass receiver is locked as late as possible around the same approximate time as when the ball is kicked. So this allows you to like last second change who you want to pass it to, which can be very clutch. Say you're trying to pass it to somebody, but it looks like a defender is going to cover that lane and intercept the pass. Like while your guys in mid motion trying to pass the ball, you can actually change the aim with your left stick to somebody else to avoid your pass getting intercepted. So it can be pretty clutch for stuff like that. Precision pass sensitivity, I use it on a normal. I think I've been doing precision passes since the FC24 beta when they first introduced it. So I have a lot of experience doing precision passes. I've never actually tried it on the high sensitivity. You could give that a go. You might like it more. I've just always used it on normal, and I do a ton of precision passes, and I don't mind it on normal. But that's also like a preference type of setting. And then defending is what we're moving on to next. And clearance assistance, you're going to want this on directional compared to classic. This will just give you more control of where your clearances are going to go. Defending, advanced defending, this is pretty important. I would highly suggest trying out advanced defending if you never tried it before, because what this does, it allows you to pick whether you want to go for a physical tackle, like a bruiser, utilizing the bruiser, like bump people, shoulder people out, or do like a seal out, like what it says. Press A to attempt a shoulder challenge or a seal out. And then obviously you still have that stand tackle button, B on Xbox or circle on PlayStation. And then it's A on Xbox and X on PlayStation to do the physical, bruiser, tackle. So if you have it on tactical, they're just combined with the normal tackle button. So it's more contextual and it'll decide whether to do a physical tackle or stand tackle in situations. So I just think advanced defending is better because you have the choice to utilize a physical tackle or stand tackle, especially if you're using like a player with bruiser and you want to utilize it a lot. That is very important to have advanced defending on. Professional fouls are on. This was a feature they added last year where you can do a tactical foul and just purposely foul a player, get like a yellow card and just like stop like a counter attack or something. But you can turn it off if you like accidentally do it or you don't like it. But I'm just going to have that on because it can be pretty clutch sometimes. And then pass block assistance. This is going to be helpful for like intercepting passes or blocking passes. It'll give you a little bit of like assistance with that rather than like just manually having to intercept and block passes when it's off. So definitely have that on as well. Then we have switching settings, and most of this is for just like 1v1 FIFA if you play like Ultimate Team or like Kickoff, or if you're like an any in pro clubs. And if y'all have never seen my channel before, I pretty much just only play pro clubs. I used to play Ultimate Team like back in the day, a lot of Ultimate Team, so I am familiar with this stuff, and this is basically the settings I would use if I did play like 1v1 FIFA, Ultimate Team, or played any in pro clubs. So I would always have auto switching on manual. I just prefer that, but I know a lot of people have it on like only on air balls, or maybe like only on loose, one of these settings, but I think most people have it only on air balls or something. But I like it on manual and just switching it myself every time. I don't like the game switching to a player for me. It kind of messed me up. That is literally just like a preference setting. That's completely up to you guys. You don't have to do manual like I do. And then auto switch and move assistance is on low. I think if you have it on manual, this setting doesn't matter, but if you have it on any of the other ones, you definitely want it on low. Right stick switching is classic. Right stick switching reference, player relative. Sensitivity is kind of up to you guys. I have it on 5. I don't know really which one's best. Next player switching classic. Reaction time calibration on. Reaction time calibration sensitivity on 5. And then I do use player lock sometimes when I play Ultimate Team or something, and so I have that on. Simplified skill moves are new this year, but it's important to know that if you have this setting on, you won't be able to do the normal skill moves. So I like skilling a lot. I know all the skills in the game pretty much, and I like to utilize a lot of 5-star skills because they're very good. So I would have this setting off because if I had it on, I wouldn't be able to use all those skills. When you have it on, it's best for like people who don't use skill moves at all. It makes it easier for them to do skills. So that is a new feature for people that don't do skills at all really, or like some like accessibility type of feature for people who have a hard time being able to do that kind of stuff. So you're going to want that off if you like doing normal skill moves. Definitely have that off for that reason. Then there's a goalkeeper settings, and this is for if you play pro clubs as a goalkeeper or like career mode as a goalkeeper. Save assistance. I know a lot of competitive goalkeepers on pro clubs use manual, so I think that's the best. But if you're first getting into goalkeeping, I would suggest using semi, and then maybe once you get the hang of it, you can try manual. Let me know in the comments if y'all play goalkeeper, which one y'all use, manual or semi. I definitely don't think you should use assisted. Either manual or semi should be best. And then camera pan speed, you can now like pan the camera as a goalkeeper, like look left and right. So that is a unique feature. So they added basically like a speed for that, a sensitivity kind of thing. So fast, slow, or default. So I'm just going to keep it on default because I haven't tried that yet. Then the last setting under gameplay is analog sprint. And I always have this on, but I know some people use it off. So what this will do, if you have it on, it acts more like a gas pedal. If you have it off, once you basically push the right trigger down, it'll just instantly have your guy just sprint. But on, you have a little bit of control, whether you can like run at a speed between like jog speed and sprint speed, and it can be good for like dribbling and just controlling your speed a lot of times. So I prefer this, and I feel like it stops a lot of those situations where you like sprint and then your guy takes a massive touch away from you, because I feel like if you have it off, that happens quite a bit, and it doesn't happen as much on. This is really just another preference type of thing. I prefer having it on. All right, let's move on, and we're gonna skip these next 3 tabs: the match tab, game type settings, and CPU sliders. They're just not important for gameplay. So camera settings. So they have this, I think this is new, maybe it was in the game last year, but I think it's new. Ultimate Team competitive camera. I haven't tried it. Let me know what y'all think of it, if y'all like it, but I think it's only for Ultimate Team. It only works for the Ultimate Team stadiums. So you could try it and have it enabled, but I just have it disabled. And I use the co-op camera because this gets like the furthest zoom out, so you can see as much of the pitch as possible. And then I go down to camera customization and change the settings even more. So I put my height on 5, the zoom on 0, and that's really all that's important. These are all for pro clubs. If you use the pro camera in like career mode or pro clubs, I just have those on 0. But that's not necessarily the best settings for the pro cam. I just don't use the pro cam, and not very many people do. So that's up to you guys with those pro camera settings. So for single player, multiplayer, player career, clubs camera, I all have on co-op. And then there's the rush camera for the rush game mode. This is up to you guys. You could try the pro cam end to end, broadcast, or tactical, but I like tactical the most. But I have played rush this year, and it seems different. The tactical camera from last year seems like it's moving more, and it seems like rush tactical and broadcast are very similar. I don't know if it's like a bug or something, but it just doesn't seem as good compared to last year's rush tactical camera. I don't know if they changed something or what. Let me know in the comments if y'all noticed that as well. If you play goalkeeper, you're going to want the camera on pro, and this one is important. You're going to want the power shot zoom off, because if you have it on, it like zooms in on the pitch and it will mess you up. It might be sometimes good if you're actually doing a power shot yourself, but it'll also do it if your opponents are doing a power shot or your teammates doing a power shot. It'll zoom in and just like mess up like what you're looking at and stuff like that. So I would definitely have power shot zoom off. I've already gone over these custom camera settings, and you could potentially just switch up the height. This is kind of up to you guys. You could put it on 10, you could put it on 20 if you want. I just like it on 5, and I've been using that for years now. And then I believe that's everything for the camera settings. And then there's some stuff under visual that we need to look at. So connection monitoring, to monitor your connection. You can have it always on or contextual, so it'll only pop up if like your connection is not, like the ping's not very good or your connection's struggling. So contextual could be pretty good. I just have it off. Input overlay, this is for your controller. They have this one that's new, so it's easier to see the buttons. I might potentially try that, but right now I just have the controller because I like the look of that better. Score clock on, score clock drop down on. I turn off scrolling lineups because it'll pop up at the bottom of the screen. I've had this off for many, many years, and a lot of times it'll scroll the lineups, and if the ball's at the bottom of the pitch, it will block the view of the ball in the gameplay sometimes. So I have that off. Hypermotion insights overlay, I don't like that. I have that off. Tactical chalkboard off. Tactical suggestions notifications off. These are like some extra animations that will kind of just distract you in game, so I have that off, but that is up to you guys. These are new. These will now show the skill moves and weak foot of the player that you're using, which is really nice and helpful in game, especially in like Ultimate Team where you're using a bunch of different players. So I would have these on. You should also have Playstyles Plus icons on. If you have it off, you'll see it takes it away from that bar at the bottom left and right. So I'd suggest having that on. Ultimate Team objective gameplay notifications are on. I think that might be new. And then indicators, player name bar, I have it on enabled, and overhead info. Then overhead player info, I have it on player name rather than player number. This can be important because you're going to be using a lot of players in 1v1 FIFA. So it pops up their name over the arrow of who you're using, who you have the ball with. And it also does it for your opponents. So it can be very clutch knowing who your opponent is using or who you are using at that current time. And then player indicator size, default, indicator fade on, teammate contain indicator on, playstyles plus overhead indicators on. So this will, if you activate a playstyle, it'll pop up over the head of the player you're using, and you can actually put it on team only, which is pretty cool. Some people might find this annoying, especially later in the year in like Ultimate Team where cards have like 4 or 5 playstyle plus. It might be popping up a lot, so you could turn that off, but I have it on. And then next player switch indicator, it is on only in single player, but that's supposed to be off, so I have that off because I don't like the next player switch indicator. It kind of confuses me. Some people might like it on, but I turn that off. Player based difficulty indicator on, gamer tag indicator fade, celebration camera focus. This isn't very important, I guess. Default, hold to skip, precision pass visuals. If you like to do precision passes, you definitely are going to want these on. You don't want them off. That would be very difficult. Underfoot player highlight. I have it only display on stoppage. I think that might be the default. Communication system. This is for like clubs and rush. I think it's pretty annoying. People can like spam it. So I have it off, but you can have it on. AR coach and rush. This will help you for like positioning and stuff and rush. I don't like it, so I have it off. And then ping system. I do have that on. That's when you like, I believe, hold the right stick in a direction and rush, and it'll pop up like arrows. Where your guy is, arrows will pop up and point wherever you are pointing the right stick, and it kind of shows like where you're planning to run. Maybe it'll help your teammates, showing like, oh, you're running in this direction. Maybe play a through ball to me into that space or something like that. So I just have that on, but I don't utilize it very much at all anyways. I have the radar on 2D, but you could put it on 3D if you prefer that. And then radar color, you can change the color of your team on the radar to like blue or something, and then you can put the opponents to red, so it'll always be like that. And it's not like dependent on the kits, because sometimes the kits can like clash a bit, and then the colors on the radar are weird and it can be kind of difficult to tell. So you can set it up to like whatever color scheme you want, but I just have it on default. And the goal net tension, this isn't very important. And then some of these features are different, these accessibility features. So like player shadows, you can turn that off. That just looks kind of weird to me, so I keep that on. But stadium shadows is a really nice setting, because stadium shadows are really just annoying over the past all the years of FIFA pretty much. So I have that off, and that is going to be a really nice feature. Camera shake visuals, I just have that off. POV camera scenes, I just kept that on. And then all the rest of the stuff is like brightness and contrast of the game, so you can change that if you want. And I think that's everything under visual I wanted to go over. Then I don't think I need to go over anything under audio or rules or accessibility. And then graphics mode, there's this one setting. You're going to want this on enhanced visuals. You can put it on favor resolution, but I think enhanced visuals is the most preferred option. So there y'all go. That is my FC 26 settings. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm now going to show y'all my controller setup. So I use an Xbox Elite controller with 2 paddles on the back. You don't have to have an Xbox Elite controller. You could have any other controller that utilizes paddles. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have controllers like that, especially if you play like shooter games. But it's also helpful in FIFA. I think it's actually extremely helpful. So as you can see right here, I have the paddles, both paddles. I have the left one mapped to LB and then the right one mapped to RB. And there's so many different things in the game, so many different mechanics where you utilize LB and RB, like player switching, doing the second man player contain, chip, like different types of shots, like chip shots, finesse shots, power shots, all the different types of skill moves, the different types of dribbling, like controlled sprint. There's a bunch of different things that use the bumpers. So I think it's very helpful to have it on the paddles. So I always have my fingers on the paddles rather than having to like switch like this. So it'll save you a little bit of time. I think it's just very clutch. And once you get the hang of it, I think you'll really like it. I've been doing this for, I don't even know now, maybe like 4 or 5 years. It's been a long time. I've been using paddles on my controller. So I think it's very clutch, and I would suggest trying it out. It might be difficult to get used to at first, but you'll eventually get the hang of it, and I think you'll really like it. And then I can go more in depth on my settings, my other settings on my Elite controller if you have an Elite controller and want to copy. So I just use the top 2 paddles. You could also use the bottom 2. It's whatever you prefer. So LB and RB, and then the left stick, I have it on aggressive, and I move this curve adjustment all the way to the left. This is kind of up to you guys. You can also try like smooth or something. A right stick I have on smooth because I feel like this is slightly better for skill moves. And then I move the curve adjustment all the way to the left, but you could also try it on aggressive. I think I've used that before. There might not be that much of a difference anyways. Left trigger, I have it on 20. So what this means is I don't have to press the trigger down as much for it to trigger, like the actual button in game. So I have that on 20, and then I do the same for the right trigger, but it's on 80. And this will kind of combine with that analog sprint setting that I was showing you guys, where it's kind of like a gas pedal effect. You won't have to pull down the trigger all the way. I just have it on 80. You could lower it more if you want, I think 80 is a nice like balance anywhere around there, but these settings really don't matter too much, to be honest. And then vibration, I turn that off. So yeah, that is my Elite controller settings with paddles for FC26. I hope some of y'all found this video helpful, and if y'all could leave a comment and like on this video and then subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, I'd greatly appreciate that. As always, y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and peace out.